y'all something. When God chooses you,
no problem,
for a wife to be a wife, you have to understand something. He has to choose you for that. Just like he has to choose the man to be the husband. It ain't like you go and search or you go and have some. It's like he chooses. That's what the whole setup of marriage. When Jesus said, "What God joined together, let no man put asunder," that's what he means. When what God have joined together. So if you can look and kind of do research on when God joins something together, put yourself in the situation. If you was to start a company, when you starting something, you are the initiator. So you already know everything that you need and every vision that you have for that business to excel. So you're going to know exactly what type of foundation that you're going to need. You're going to know what type of builders that you're going to need to build it. You're going to know the architect. You're going to know all of these things. Why? Because you are the one that is initiating it. So if you look at how your father operates when he chooses you, see, a lot of people a lot of women don't understand. You want God to choose you to be a wife, not you want to be a wife. Anybody can be a wife, but everybody can't be chosen to be a wife. That what needs to be the prayer. God, choose me to be a wife to the husband that you have chosen for me to be a wife to. That's a simple prayer.
If
it's your will. Yeah. And when you do that, that's his will for you to ask that way. Because that's the way he orchestrated it in the beginning of the garden. He chose Eve to be the wife for Adam. See? And he chose Adam to be the husband for Eve. Neither one of them asked to give me a wife or give me a husband. God chose them for that. Okay?
And also understand, you guys, even when God chooses you to be a wife, you can try to run all you want to.
Yeah.
You can try to say, I don't want this all you want to.
Yeah.
I was on my way to Baltimore.
Yes, she was. She was getting ready to move.
Sell my house.
Yep.
I was getting ready to go and get some more degrees.
Yep.
I was going into school. I was going to HBCU. I had a job I didn't even know about at the time because I applied for a job. When he approached me that day, I think it was maybe the next weekend, I was going to Baltimore.
Yeah.
To kind of look around, to, just check out the schools. I hadn't heard anything.
Yep.
So I'm like, where's my acceptance letter? So I was telling him, I was like, hey, I'm going to Baltimore. He was like, what? He said he know what God told him.
I know what God told me, but she was like, I'm going to Baltimore.
Baltimore.
And I'm like, what? What do you mean you're going to Baltimore?
I said, are you gonna travel?
Yeah.
He was like, I said, you gonna travel and see me and wait in Baltimore? He talking about, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, okay.
But I knew what God told me. So hey, I stood on that thing and I knew it, and she didn't go nowhere. God set that thing up to where that school was not the right. That school was.
But I didn't know
period.
I got the job until I came back.
After she accepted.
After God told me no, after he showed me everything, he said, no, this is not my will for your life. Go back home.
Yep.
When I got back home, y'all, I promise you, when I came back home from Baltimore, all of my stuff was in the mail. My acceptance letter, the job I asked for, which was paying some good old money. You understand me? The dorm room, everything went through. I'm like, seriously, God? Had I not went and I just would have got my papers, a sister would have been gone out of God's will, so probably.
It's just amazing what God has for you. It is for you.
And then you can do
it. But you have to pay attention to the voice of God. You know, I love that. The ring don't make you a wife. God does.
Girl,
see, there you go.
I'm about to throw something at you.
There you go. There you go. Because when God chooses you to be a wife, it doesn't matter about the material things. It doesn't matter about what kind of ring or size ring you put on your finger. It doesn't matter about
put God on it.
Because when God chooses you, that means he's choosing you for an assignment. No one could have told me and Marshall that we would be, listen, we've been married for 9 years going on 10. No one could have told us that God is going to use us the way he is using us now in this process. There's no way we would have known that. See? So when God chooses you, it's so much better because he really chooses you for an assignment when he chooses you for marriage.
And understand, y'all, when he approached me, I was minding my business, being about my father's business, as he was talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about going to church.
No.
I'm not talking about doing all of that. Everything that
Her
you guys said
relationship.
was pretty much on point.
Right.
It's your relationship with God
Yeah.
and what God has told you to do.
Yep.
Whatever God has for you to do, if that's what you're focusing on, if God is saying, I need you to go down the street, make a right, make a left, keep straight. Your focus should be going down the street, make a right, make a left, keep straight.
That's right.
If you decide to go down the street, make a straight, make a left, make a right, you're going into circles. You're not doing what God has told you to do. So you can't be in the place where God needs you to be.
Right.
If he is ready for you to be there.
Timing and obedience is everything.
It's everything. God can even tell somebody, yeah, you're supposed to be together. But what if I tell you it's in 20 years? You want to wait. I'm just saying. When you're doing what God wants you to do, and you are where God wants you to be, it doesn't matter what you do or say, it's going to happen. Y'all, I was in the room by myself, minding my business. I wasn't looking for no man. I was content where I was, and he come acting silly, and whoop, there it is, almost 10 years later. Hey, baby doll. Marshall, when did God tell you that Vito was your husband?
She was having hot dreams about me. Oh.
He told me he was my husband in Baltimore. After God told me no, I can hear. And I still had some doubts. I ain't gonna lie. Because I was thinking, I don't know. But if I was to be honest, in my spirit, I knew he was the one when I went to Baltimore. Because when I went to Baltimore, it wasn't like, God, my prayer wasn't, God, help me in Baltimore, help me transition. My prayer was, God, is Baltimore the will for me, for you for me? You know what I'm saying? Is that your will for my life, to be in Baltimore? And I always was asking God, what is your will for me? As I was on the plane, I'm asking God, is this your will? God, show me if it's not. God, what is your will for me? It wasn't, I want to be in Baltimore, which I did. But I really, at the same time, it was like, well, you know what, God, whatever your will is, let it be done. When God told me no about Baltimore, my friend at the time, which is really my cousin now, we went to Washington and turned it into a vacation because she had people staying in Washington. So God said no to Baltimore. So we spent the rest of the weekend in Washington having fun. I started then talking to him.
On the phone?
On the phone, because he wanted to know, okay, what you gonna do? Are you moving?
I already knew she wasn't going nowhere. I was just waiting.
Are you moving?
I was just waiting.
What did God tell you?
Yes, sir. I was waiting.
I didn't want to say anything, and I was
yes, sir.
So I ended up telling him what God told me.
Yeah.
But I didn't know until later. He was like on the phone without I knowing.
I was praising God, y'all. On the other end of that phone, I was like, you do it, God.
And that's when we started talking on the phone, getting to know each other. And it was like brothers and sisters just talking. It was very, very natural.
Yeah.
And during our conversation, I can hear God say, this is your husband. And he confirmed it through my cousin/friend. He was confirming it through everything you can think of. And I was like, okay, God. I was still praying all the way up to the I do.
And that's when after all of that, that's when I shared with her what the Lord told me, how I would know who my wife was. And I brought it back to her remembrance when she asked me, when I asked her, what do you see in me? And she said, God, show me your heart. So I had to tell her that encounter that I had with God when I was in Atlanta, Georgia. When I was in my semi-truck and I was getting loaded with a load to come back down here to Jacksonville, So that's when I had to tell her the whole story about that.
Right. So God never told me before I met him he was my husband. God didn't tell me until we actually started talking. I was getting ready to go to Baltimore. And then that's when he had already knew. God told him. And then I didn't even know.
I had to wait on God to deal with her. But in the process of God dealing with her, I knew that he was going to deal with her, but I had to kind of hold my peace because I remember now I could not tell her that how I know that she is the one that God chose for me. I couldn't tell her yet. I had to wait until God showed her, that I was her husband. And then I shared with her, this is how I knew. Yeah.
Yes, confirmation is the key. And just make sure it's God's confirmation.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
flesh
Yes.
can also say
Yes.
confirmation.
Yes. Confirmation is the key, but it has to be God confirmation. So I forgot to put that in there. God confirmation is the key.
So, if you have to have a spiritual mind, a spiritual eye to kind of see how God maneuvers different relationships for His purpose and His hookup. Every relationship, every person that He hooks up will be different. All right. We did not date. We did not go out. We did not call each other. We did not have each other's phone number. We were in ministry together. We served together. That's how we knew each other. We was in the same place of fellowship together. But there was no attraction. When He came, if you haven't seen the video, there's a whole video about it. He came by it was a Sunday school class. I was getting ready to teach. And we started chit-chatting. Very casual, still nothing. That same day.
Yeah, it was that same day.
On Father's Day.
Yeah, it was.
That's when God told him Marshall was his wife. Again, prior to that, there was no phone calls. No. There was no going out. There was no dinner. There was no nothing. I know people think we're crazy, but I'm telling you the
that's
truth.
The way it happened. Listen, and I know they add on to this, babe. Add on to this. Do y'all understand what she's saying when she's saying that day?
Listen, y'all. Listen.
I don't think they understand, babe.
I was getting ready.
Can you use like today as a scenario?
They understand.
Okay.
I was sitting there waiting for my class to start. This was the only time everyone that day was late. We always start on time. I was in there by myself.
Yes, you was.
I was going over my notes. I'm like, where is everybody? As he walking by, he sees me in there by myself. He stops. He acts the fool, just like he's acting the fool now. Mm-hmm. He was acting the fool. Hey, sis, what you do? Whatever. We talked about the 2030, which was an event. It was a big place of fellowship event that they do every year. He asked me, was I going? I said, I don't know. I was going back and forth, and I said, yeah, I'm going to go. He said, who are you going to go with? I was like, me, myself, and I.
She said that. She really said that.
At that point, I didn't want to go with anyone else to the movies. I wasn't going nowhere to the dinner. I just was spending a lot of time by myself. I was taking myself out. So I made up in my mind, I got my ticket, I was going by myself. That's how it happened. I asked him, was he going? He was like, I don't know. Now this thing is getting ready to start.
Yeah.
He doesn't have his ticket.
It was
going
to be the next following weekend. Yeah.
So I said, well, what you going to do? He was like, I don't know.
Because I didn't know. Because I didn't have no money. I didn't know if I was going to get paid to go. And I was just, that was just me. Even in the organization, what y'all see now is basically what I was then. I'm very outgoing.
Free now. Freer.
I'm much freer. Trust me, I was not free there. Okay, so don't take that the wrong way. But I was very, sociable. Talk to anybody. Hey, what's going on? Hey, how you doing? Hey, bro, what's happening? All right. Hey, sis, how you doing? That's basically was my conversation.
Very casual.
So when I saw her, it wasn't no.
I like him.
I just generally came by the class and saw her. Now remember, I knew her from the discipleship.
Yeah. So it wasn't like I was
ministry.
strangers, yeah.
So she wasn't a stranger. I just knew her. So it's one of them things where, when we went out to even do a outreach, we would go to the different neighborhoods. All of us, I think it was like maybe 10 of us or 12 of us. But it was a bunch of us in the discipleship. And we would go out and we would go witness to each and every door, just like a Jehovah's Witness do. They go to your doors. But that's what we did. Mm-hmm. Her and I never linked up together. Her and I never linked up together. We would go out in twos. We would come together. We would pray.
Matter of fact, I tried to hook him up with one of my friends.
Yes, she did.
And his best friend wanted to date me.
Yeah. So it's.
That's another story, y'all.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, I never even when we saying that we never saw each other that way, and God told me that day on June the 14th, Father's Day. This is what took place. I'm serious. We are serious.
That's the same day we
That's
talked.
the same day we
After
talked.
Sunday school,
Exactly.
we went into the service.
Exactly.
That was
it.
July
Yeah.
14th, you said?
Yeah, that was
July 14th.
July 14th.
So all
Father's
this
Day.
happened on the same
Day.
Sunday school class.
Yeah.
We chit-chat.
Yeah.
Service starts.
Yeah, we
and-
go in there in the service.
And the
after
message was,
maybe you just need a Dorothy.
Say it again, because we talk at the same time.
Maybe you just need a Dorothy.
And that's during that service, during that message, that's when God spoke to him.
Yeah.
Because I was a praise dancer, so I'm in front of him.
Yeah.
I'm just dancing.
You
ain't
just
paying
dancing
him-
all over the place.
Yeah, I'm not paying him
Yeah.
attention. I'm everywhere. And then he says, he had his eyes closed. He was praising God.
I said, Lord, help me.
Yes. And then
I
that's
said,
when God
Lord, help
said-
me. When I said, Lord, help me, immediately I heard his voice say, Marshall is your Dorothy.
And when he opened his
And I
eyes, he
opened
said,
my
I
eyes.
was standing
She
right
was
there.
standing right there. And I'm like,
Dancing, y'all. Just
I said, and I'm like, really? You said, I mean, I was like that from the time from 11 something, you know, because that's when the services started at 10. So, you know, they do the praise and worship, dancing and all of that stuff, singing and all of that. That's like 45 minutes, really 45 days.
Okay, Ray, keep
but
going.
anyway, so it's like that process from there all the way until the time that we was, the speaker was speaking about maybe you need a Dorothy and was breaking things down. And it was like he was talking to me. Specifically to me, Vito, you cannot do this by yourself. Because see, remember I told you guys I was in a 1-year relationship and had a girlfriend, a 1-year relationship. And check this out. And it wasn't God, it was flesh. But I didn't want to deal with no woman in that place of fellowship no more after that situation. So I was like, no, what? And while the speaker was speaking, I'm looking like this at the speaker. At the same time, I'm hearing his voice. I'm like, really? So yeah, that's the way it happened, y'all. It happened just that day.
And then he ended up calling me that same day. He got my phone number.
What do you mean what Dorothy means? Dorothy, the Wizard of Oz.
Remember Dorothy?
The Wizard of Oz.
She had a
scarecrow.
She had a
Tin
Man.
And those are the ones that God, listen, in the movie, Dorothy was the one that helped each one of them get to their purpose. The scarecrow.
He needed a heart.
The scarecrow. No,
That was
the
Tin
Tin
Man.
Man needed a heart.
Scarecrow needed
The
a heart.
lion needed courage, and the scarecrow needed a brain. So God was telling me, she is the one that I've chosen for you.
Because he needed a brain.
Because I needed a brain.
A heart
I
transplant.
needed a heart transplant. Because I was selfish. I was about myself. I mean, I was basically just Vito. And God was like, knock. You need a Dorothy, and I'm going to choose the Dorothy for you. So that's what it represented.